Welcome to today's webinar. And once again, we'd like to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy day to spend time with us. Today is the fifth in our webinar series, Transparency is the New Green, with our special guests from Carnegie Fabrics and CHPS. I'm Terry Swack, the founder and CEO of Sustainable Minds. Transparency is the New Green is the name of the series because that's what product transparency has done in terms of raising the bar for justification of how manufacturers are making their products and how manufacturers are marketing their products. And so product transparency has subsumed the place of single attribute reporting according to specific product categories to look at one way to do technical studies across all product categories to understand the life cycle impacts of products, as well as the material ingredients that go into products. And so manufacturers can actually start wherever they like, which is to be transparent and start disclosing the life cycle impacts and the material ingredients, or they can use those tools to understand the impacts of their products and the impacts of those ingredients, drive that knowledge into product development and product improvement, and then use those disclosures, those subsequent disclosures in the marketplace to tell stories about their products. So today, and the purpose of this series, we have Charles Griffin, technical director from Carnegie Fabrics, who's going to tell you that story of literally how they've designed their products, how they make them, how they actually did that benchmark first before they used it for public disclosure, analyzed what that technical study told them, and went and drove that knowledge back into product development to come up with a brand new, innovative product. And so his story is really compelling and very easy to understand, and I think sets a good example for the model of manufacturers needing to make and market greener products. So today, our special guests, again, are Charles Griffin from Carnegie and our special guest from CHPS, Stephanie, who is the technical director there as well. And both will tell their stories about what they're trying to do in the market and how CHPS is trying to encourage manufacturers to make greener products to go into greener and healthier schools. And Stephanie will talk about the partnership between Sustainable Minds and CHPS. So as I was saying, manufacturers are driven to design and market greener products from the same set of drivers, from the competition for natural resources, regulation, risk from supply chain. But really the upside is getting new innovative products that ultimately get new customers, new revenues, and into new markets. And all of this gets rolled up into the brand. And, the value of a brand and the value of a credibly greener brand is really how we're helping manufacturers be more successful leveraging their product transparency information into product marketing to do just that, to build a credibly greener brand. And so you'll see through the story that Charles is going to tell that we at Sustainable Minds don't believe that brands can be credibly greener simply by producing disclosures, that the value for providing this information comes from demonstrating they actually understand what it means and they know what they're doing. And so product transparency does build credibly greener brands when that information is presented in a consistent, understandable, and meaningful way, and therefore builds trust. Trust builds powerful brands, and powerful brands create preference and value for their companies. So the challenges that people have today, both on the AEC side, architect, engineers, and contractors, as well as the manufacturing side, is just products and their disclosures are not easy to find all in the same place. Disclosures aren't really easy to understand and therefore are not really easy to use to make decisions. And you'll see demonstrated very clearly in Charles's presentation that creating these disclosures takes a ton of time and a big investment and a lot of buy-in across the organization. And so leveraging these disclosures into sales, building a greener brand, getting the disclosures correlated with products and into the hands of customers and prospects takes a lot of effort. And it actually turns out that when someone is doing research for products for a project, more often than not, they go to the manufacturer's website first. And so manufacturers are grappling with how do we make it clear which products that we have in our entire product line and product families, which are the ones that have transparency disclosures. And that's actually not easy to understand on many manufacturers' websites. So you're going to see Sustainable Minds is working to solve two problems, helping people find all the products with transparency information when someone goes to that manufacturer's website, as well as when someone comes to the transparency catalog, being able to find all the products from that manufacturer with disclosures. Because again, people aren't looking for disclosures, they're looking for products with disclosures. And so the transparency catalog, because both constituents, AECs and manufacturers, are both moving through this learning continuum to accelerate this process, the transparency catalog is really an educational marketing platform. It's not just a product database. And we're going to show you how the transparency catalog has education kind of built right into the user experience of the listing, and then a lot of other tools that help both manufacturers and their salespeople, their distributors, their partners, their architectural design reps, as well as the AECs, understand what the disclosures mean, how they map to rating systems, and how to find all the products they need with those disclosures. When you have a chance to explore, you'll understand a little bit better how the catalog is uniquely designed to be able to find all those brands, understand what the disclosures mean, learn what the manufacturer is doing to improve, be able to share feedback. And our biggest goal is to help the manufacturers get rewarded by doing this work, by making this investment. And if all of this works together, then we're going to create change in the market and in the industry, because those products that actually are higher performing and greener and healthier means we're going to have a higher performing, greener and healthier built environment. And the same thing on the manufacturer side. If we can save them time and money, improve the effectiveness of their efforts, and help their organizations understand that product transparency isn't a passing fad, it's here to stay, and it's going to help them build a credibly greener brand and win more business, then everything's firing on both sides. We're going to create this change in the world that we're all trying to create. When you have a chance, we invite you to look at the catalog, and we're going to do a demo in a little bit later. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Charles, Director of Technical Services from Carnegie Fabrics. Charles, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Terry and Sustainable Minds, for providing this forum to share our insights, our struggles, our possibilities as it relates to transparency. Who am I? I oversee all performance testing. I review all fabrics and finishes we adopt in our line. And I am a textile engineer, almost 30 years of product experience in terms of testing and evaluating product. And I believe that it is extremely important that we fully understand the ingredients in our products and processes and their potential impact on our health. This is something that we take very serious here at Carnegie. One of the things that I am charged with is making sure that as a company, that people understand our rich legacy. We've been around for almost 60 years, 60 plus years, and we're founded by the late Robert Goldman. And we launched our signature brand, Zerel, in 1981. This is our baby, and we love this product. There's a lot that can be done with it. And from the very beginning, we've always been a 100% PVC-free company. Today, Robert Goldman's son, Cliff Goldman, is our current president, and we sell fabrics for wall covering, upholstery, panels, drapery, and that includes privacy and windows. And our fabrics can be found everywhere in schools, K through 12, universities, government and corporate offices, healthcare facilities, hotels, airports, etc. And sustainability and product transparency is well ingrained at all levels of our organization. And Carnegie is a certified B Corp. And that is we underwent a rigorous third-party assessment that we talk about product transparency. Well, our organization also underwent a transparency operation, and they looked at every level of our business practices, how we do business, where we do business. So we're very proud to say that we are a certified B Corporation. What is our story? As a company, we've always been committed to transparency. In the very beginning, we would give our material safety data sheet upon request. We would take the time to fill out design firm specific requests, and we had different design firms and architects who had their own formats, and we would take the extra time to fill these things out, and we would talk about the wonderful nature of our product. But what we wanted a good third-party analysis of our signature brand, Zerel, and that's where, for the focus of this, for my portion, I will talk about Zerel. That's our bread and butter. That's our signature brand. So we decided to have our product vetted by MBDC and to have them look at our product, look at the chemistry, and we didn't do anything. We submitted all the information really cold to these guys. And we initially achieved silver level certification. And so we felt we were in good shape, but we asked the question, where did we fall short of gold? What can we do? What can we do better? So we pushed for improvements. So the question is, well, what did you guys do? We challenged our suppliers to come up with healthier alternatives to questionable ingredients that were found in our products. And quite frankly, that we didn't even know was there had we not undergone this process. And we partnered with our third-party auditors to better understand industry best practices. What's going on out there? What are the alternatives? And we made the economic investment to improve our product and our processes. And you see the dollar signs. Of course, it's not free. So in terms of what we learned through this process, transparency and disclosures, as Terry said earlier, it requires full organizational buy-in. It does involve a great deal of time and patience. We find ourselves having to get primary information. We go to secondary information. Sometimes we go down to the tertiary, even the quaternary level, as we try to get all the information, inventory, everything that goes into our product. And as an early adopter of transparency, we demonstrated our commitment to finding healthier ingredients for our products. So we were very, very serious about this. And the improvements and the innovations that came about, we are expanding even now our disclosure efforts across all of our product categories. We examined our supply chain for improvement opportunities. What can we do better? Where can we make improvements? And we increased our research and development efforts. We worked with at senior levels of our organization to look at everything in our product, how we were designing. We rethought everything that we were doing. And as a result, we created a wonderful product that we are certainly proud of, and that is our BioZerel. And one of the challenges with this, and we looked at Cradle to Cradle's 5 quality categories, and we looked at where did we fare? How did we fare against these 5 categories? And when we looked at our organization, we looked at water stewardship. And we looked at Zerel, and Zerel, in essence, you can advance that there. We use a waterless system for production. And we utilize a rainwater collection system for ancillary water use, like bathrooms and cleaning, social fairness. And we became a certified B Corp with the understanding that we could do business while doing good in our local community. We gave our full chemical inventory to have it vetted and was found to have no chemicals of concern. We looked at material utilization, and we were already recycling second quality yarns back into our polymer batch to create first quality yarns. We created a material take-back program in partnership with a waste and energy plant right out here in Long Island. And then as it relates to renewable energy, our weaving plant, our weaving mill is 100% renewable through solar and wind. So we found that we were well ahead of the curve. So the wonderful thing that was just this BioZerel, it is a high performance interior textile. And as the technical director, my challenge was to make sure that this product met all of the same technical and performance standards of everything else everyone has come to understand about Zerel. This new product had to be equal or better than what we previously had. We're talking about 60 to 85% bio content, which is way beyond anything that we are aware of in this industry, particularly as it relates to high performance textiles, sourced from rapidly renewable sugarcane as opposed to fossil fuels. So how do we validate? It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to subject yourself to third-party analysis. We underwent a series of certifications. We looked at these products. Some you may be familiar with, others you may not. Vencoat is a very interesting certification. When we developed the bio product, we wanted to make sure. We say it's 85%, we say it's 60%, or what have you. And what Vencoat does, we underwent a scientific and chemical analysis of the product to make sure it was indeed 85% or 80% bio content. And we were able to achieve 3 and 4 star. They go from 1 star up to 4 stars. And we have 4 stars for our bio product, and we have 3 stars for our other products. So we were able to do very, very well in terms of having it vetted. And FACTS is another one which looked at all of our operations, not just the product, but also looked at the processes and all of the steps involved. So we subjected ourselves to, again, a boatload of analysis. And again, what I talked about earlier, full organizational buy-in, none of these are free. So that's very fortunate to have that cooperation. And we created another pretty revolutionary product in our Artform panels. And this just to give you an idea of the range of what we do. And these little miniature panels, they go together almost like a jigsaw puzzle. And if you ever find yourself in the Cincinnati area at Maddox Elementary School, you will see these. We have a sizable order of these that are going in that school. We also do some upholstery items that we work on. So the range, chairs, and ornaments, and different things that we can do with Zerel. We have a ton of Zerel in schools all over this country. That Zerel wall covering there, so indoor air quality, obviously in a tight space like that is critical. And that was part of the certifications that we have for Zarel, and understanding its transparency and having access to that information through sites like Sustainable Minds, so people know that we are indeed serious. And we talk about in hospitals. You can see wall covering in hospitals that not only look good, but it has to be able to perform well and hold up to hospital grade disinfectant cleaners. And all of that is a part of what we do in our vetting process. Airports, you'll find Zarel. You have in the Nashville area, you'll see our Zarel on their wall. So when we look at transparency as a product filter, why is it important? Why look for transparency information? Well, quite simply, it shows your commitment as a specifier. It shows your commitment to promoting and expanding this movement. In terms of conclusions that can be drawn, product transparency, it gives stakeholders the opportunity to make better informed decisions. It's really best if you know what's in it, you can begin to specify and be specific in what you're looking for and have confidence that you are specifying and getting a product that has been evaluated that you can trust is going to meet what you're looking for. The other things that, and the other benefits that I could highlight in terms of what are you looking for in general? Inherent benefits? Well, I would say three things. One, the information needs to be clearly communicated. You shouldn't have to dig too much. And it should be clearly communicated, and there should be honest disclosure of any chemicals of concern. And any healthier alternatives to those chemicals of concern if they exist. And if there are no alternatives, then at least we know what we're getting into. So again, it's all about providing you with the information and the tools to make the best decision. And when we look at what, as an industry, what needs to happen, well, it definitely needs to be continued pressure and demand on the part of key stakeholders. And with some of those barriers and some of the things I want you to be clear on is that as manufacturers, we don't always know every single thing that goes into our products. So you do need that cooperation down the supply chain. That's where the time and the patience come in order to properly inventory everything that we have. So we really do need the patience. It does require time. There are some formulas and some parts of it that is proprietary. So there needs to be a level of trust that there's not going to be any unreasonable disclosure of proprietary information. And for long-term benefits and outcomes, again, trust is critical. You can trust an organization, you can trust us that we're always going to do the right thing. We're going to supply the information so people can make the best decision possible for their clients, for their use. We believe it's going to be sustainable growth and longevity. And it might sound corny, but really we're looking at ultimately for the survival of our planet. And this is why we are very, very comfortable in terms of what we disclose and how we disclose it, but where do we disclose our products and what disclosures do we have? If you go, and I want to do just a little bit of demonstration here, but quite simply, we want to disclose everything that we have as best we can. And that's driven by not only by choice, but also by customer demand. People want it, and we want to give people what they want. We have them in the form of health product declarations. We have cradle-to-cradle certification, declare. We have, again, design firm-specific requests, a Google Portico and Marriott MSAP system and database. We have our product disclosed. And another nice, easy way you can find it is right through Sustainable Minds. And if you go into, I want to click on that list. Click on that for me, Jerry. You can go in and you can click on our products and you can find our products. You can find where we are all in one place with our declare labels. And if you click on Abacus Embroider, you will see where all of these things are. You list, there's almost 100 products there. If you go down, there's our environmental product declaration. You can also see our health product declaration, the latest version, which is 2.1. We have that disclosed. If you go there, you see all of this information all nested right in one place. So you don't have to dig through 50 areas. You can go right through. We have it all there. And we're even looking, and even in the midst of all of this disclosure, we are still looking for better ways and more ways that we can help people to understand how serious we are and how dedicated we are to being good stewards of our environment. I appreciate your time, and I thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Charles, thank you so much. Every time I look at the work that you've done, I'm even more intrigued at how you guys have really continued to just make it better. And I think, one of the questions that people ask, and I like to ask manufacturers, is, for example, why do you have 4 kinds of material ingredient disclosures for one product? And why do you have both a cradle-to-cradle material health certificate, which is a platinum, and a cradle-to-cradle certified product, which is gold? Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Very good question. We have clients. Some clients are, they have projects and they want to know, here you'll see the cradle-to-cradle certificate. So they kind of want to know the whole certification in terms of the process and the 5 areas that were highlighted earlier: social fairness, renewable energy, and that thing. So we have that as disclosure. But there are also clients who just simply want to know at the product level, is the chemistry clean? They're not necessarily concerned about all the other aspects, so they want to look at the chemistry. So we underwent an additional step to take a closer look at the product itself, and that's where the material health certification comes in. Looks at the chemistry of the product. Is there anything in there? And if you come down a little bit, they have a little grid there, and you kind of see, as you click on it, you'll see if there's any red list in it. Is there anything in there that might be harmful, that might be problematic? So we subjected ourselves to even an additional level of scrutiny just to make sure. So different clients we find are looking for different levels of disclosure. We want to be able to cover the whole gamut. Some people are just concerned about the indoor air quality. We want to make sure they understand they're working on a LEED project, so they need that HPD. They need the environmental product declaration. We want to make sure that we have everything that our clients may need, depending on what they're looking for in a specific project, and have it all in one place. It's just much easier. And we find that different clients are looking for different things, so we want to cover the gamut to make sure we have everything that they need. And if we don't have it, we are dedicated to, again, looking at our processes and practices to make sure we get it. So that's why we do that.
Well, thank you, Charles. So while we're on your listing, I'll tell the attendees a little bit more about what they can find here. So as it said on the slide, today you'll be able to find more than 100 products from Carnegie, both BioZarel and Zarel, in the different product groups that Charles was talking about, in wall coverings, stretched fabric wall systems, upholstered seating. And again, Charles has created disclosures for all of those products. And so you can go look at the product right here on their website, get all the information about colors and functional performance, and all that additional information. And all the disclosures that go with it for each product are correlated right there. And I talked about it being an educational marketing platform. Some of these disclosure systems are fairly complicated. And so we've tried to build in some kind of just-in-time learning. Here's our handy tooltip decoder for the HPD V2. And so you can see all the acronyms for the scope and threshold and disclosure and results. Pretty quickly, as people become familiar with the components of an HPD, you'll be able to glance at each of the results tables and know in a glance that these HPDs are compliant with the rating system requirements. And so we've put this information at this level in the interface so that you actually don't necessarily need to go in and read the HPD. You can if you like, it's there. But we're trying to make the process a little bit more efficient, a little faster, find products, see what disclosures they have, understand in a glance the levels that are there, be able to contact the manufacturer. There's a couple links to the website. You can contact the manufacturer. The other thing I wanted to point out is that the transparency catalog, because we believe transparency is the new green, is only for products that have transparency information. And what we've found, with no exception yet, the manufacturers who have selected the products to create transparency information for have already achieved the single attribute certifications that are leading edge for that product category, because transparency was the next thing. So what you're going to see in any of these listings is right below the listing table, the manufacturer will pull out the other category-specific certifications that are relevant and important for people looking for products in this category. And this is exactly for people looking at indoor air quality, which is really important for chips. You'll be able to see on all the listings which certifications and ratings the manufacturer has achieved when VOC and indoor air quality is important. And you'll learn a little bit about the company. You'll also be able to, if you like these products, you can tweet about Carnegie, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. You can post to LinkedIn, you can post to Facebook. And if you're collaborating with folks on a project, you want to send an email, what this does is it pulls up an email with the link embedded saying, hey, find all of Carnegie's products here. You shoot the email off, it sends them a link to this listing, and all the information that you want to be able to share with a manufacturer or your friends is right there. I'm going to zoom out of the listing for just a moment and give you the rest of the quick tour of the catalog, and we'll hand it over to Stephanie. The purpose of the catalog is, as I mentioned before, to reward all the manufacturers who have invested in product transparency information. Whether they've done a lot or a little, we want to reward them. So you can see today that there are over 725 brands who have invested in either creating environmental product declarations or some kind of material ingredient disclosure. And you can either find their products or you can go right to their websites and find their products. All of the manufacturers whose logos are here on the left, for example, you're going to be able to find all their products and all the disclosures. The rest of the manufacturers who are listed here, when the text is not bold, have what we call a freemium listing. So Sustainable Minds doesn't believe in using people's data when people haven't provided that data. So as a service to the manufacturer and to the community, the freemium listing tells somebody coming to the listing interested in the brand that this brand does have products with transparency information, but you have to go to the website and then go see if you can find the products with the transparency information there. We give you a hint. We let you know they've got some EPDs, and this is why we want it to be known, every manufacturer who's stepped up, but manufacturers who have invested in product transparency, you're going to get your products in front of the people who care by making sure your products are here rather than only making them available through your website, which oftentimes it's really hard to find the products and the disclosures. Now, one of the other tool tips I didn't show you is this quick tool tip about what is an ISO 14025 Type 3 environmental declaration. Most people really don't know what those are. And so any kind of term that's specific to product transparency, we've tried to provide the information so you can understand what does the content in the table mean and, what are we talking about? And in every single one of these, we take you right back to the source. You can go read the technical standard if that is the level that you'd like to get to. Here's the kind of the master decoder page. And it's in the navigation. It says rating systems. And this page describes how to map disclosures to green building rating systems. And so what this page does is it shows you there are 5 green building rating systems today, CHPS being top of the list, both in environmental performance and material ingredients. You can click and go to the site to look at the standard. And so what we've done is we've also created not just the way that the disclosures map to the rating systems, but we're showing you which level of disclosure achieves different rating systems eligibility, and then all of the different abbreviations, all the glossary is right there. Again, those tool tips are all right there. So this is just a great go-to guide for anyone who wants reference information. It's always kept up to date. The links are current. The mapping is current. It's great for training. It's just great for going to look things up if you forget. And so that's always available. I guess the last point I'd like to make is we are the official product transparency resource for CHPS. You can get to all of the recordings of the webinars, and this one will be made available to you as well, as will the deck if you request it. A little bit of the funding from the manufacturers every year to put their products in the catalog, we donate to the National Park Foundation. And the reason we do that is just we want to keep everybody's eye on the prize in terms of green building is about a bigger idea than just buildings and products. As Charles said, it's about making sure we're protecting our natural environment as well as our human health in the things that we make and the things that we put out on the planet. And so, again, this is all about this virtuous cycle of supply and demand for the highest performing, greenest and healthiest products. So to pick up where we left off, it's a great segue for me to introduce Stephanie Mason, the CHPS Technical Director, to talk about how they are executing on the same set of goals to build healthier and greener environments in schools and ultimately reduce the impact on the planet. So, Stephanie, I'm just going to give you that keyboard and mouse control again, and I'm going to let you take it away.
Great. Thank you, Terry and Charles. Get great presentations here, and hopefully everyone understands the catalog and what we're trying to promote here with the transparency documentation. As Charles showed, is not just to have information, but to learn from the information on your products and improve on them. So as Terry stated, I'm Dr. Stephanie Mason. I'm the CHPS Technical Director. And we're going to talk a little bit on promoting product transparency in healthy, high-performance schools, which is CHPS' core mission. So, why did we undertake this partnership with Sustainable Minds? CHPS is a 501c3 nonprofit focused on design, construction, operation, and maintenance of healthy, high-performance schools. And I'll get into what that means in a little bit. And CHPS had maintained its own high-performance products database, but we've decided to sunset that as part of a renewed focus on our CHPS core mission. So instead of maintaining a CHPS product database ourselves, we're looking at existing organizations with expertise in database management as our resource to help the AEC community, schools find high performance products. And we started with Sustainable Minds because of its focus on product transparency. And we have new CHPS credits for both environmental product declarations and product health information reporting, which I will refer to as HPDs with the understanding that I'm not referring specifically to the health product declaration. So talk a little bit about what is the CHPS core mission. So our mission is to make every school an ideal place to learn. And what do we mean by that? We're talking about a place that is healthy for the occupants, both the students and the teachers, and also enhances performance, again, both of the students and the teachers. And to make that happen, the materials that go into the building are very important. So what is a high performance school? To get there, it's one, like I said, healthy and comfortable, but it's also been commissioned. There's been demonstrated testing of the building to confirm that the building performs as it was designed and constructed. It responds to changes in the community and the environment. It can be used as a teaching tool, and it's safe and secure. And all this fits in with the transparency information on the products, because we want those healthy, safe products going into our building. And you can see that the product transparency aligns very well with the CHPS core priorities, which are, as I stated, protecting student and staff health and enhancing the learning environment to improve performance. But we want to do that while conserving energy, water, and other resources, and minimizing waste, pollution, and environmental degradation. And again, these product declarations can help us meet all three of these goals, not necessarily directly at the school level, but from the materials that are going into the school level. And again, we're looking at not just having products have the information, but using that information to then improve and optimize their products and performance to make them healthier and less environmentally wasteful. So, to sum it up, we're really looking at connecting conditions to outcomes. So we have our school design, and materials is one of the components of that school design. And we want that school design and the building performance to produce these good outcomes for student and staff, health and learning. So CHPS has a number of tools and recognition programs to help schools become high performance or maintain high performance. And you can see that's our rating systems and our operations report card, which is a benchmarking system. We even have a high performance prefabricated classroom pre-approval process. And what is missing there, or at the moment, is being able to find products and materials that meet the CHPS criteria. So as I said, CHPS has maintained a high performance product database, but we are no longer going to be maintaining that. Like I said, we're going to look at other organizations with expertise in this area and leverage that so that we can focus on these other tools, the criteria, the operations report card, which is really our core focus. So I had mentioned the CHPS criteria, and the CHPS criteria were originally developed in California, but are now available throughout the US. So the product resource becomes even more important because we've targeted a much larger population of schools. We've gone beyond just California, Texas, and the Northeast, Virginia, and Washington, and Hawaii to all 50 states now. And in those criteria, as I had mentioned, we have a category on materials and waste management where we have our product requirements or optimal criteria. And you just bear with me a second here, it's going to highlight a few things. So we have two new credits for product transparency. One is the environmental product declarations, the EPDs. And the second is the product health information reporting, or the HPDs. And these are somewhat similar to what you might find in LEED v4, okay, but we put our own nuance on it. If you're interested in the details, you can go to our website and click on the core criteria, the US CHPS criteria, and look up these two credits. It's available for free. You don't have to purchase anything. So again, we want to be able to find these high performance products. So the current product database was really focused on low emitting materials and other environmental attributes. We have started to add the EPDs and material disclosures, but that would have required a relatively large update in the product database. So as I said, we decided that we would not do that ourselves, but look to others with expertise. We are looking at other database options for the low emitting materials and other environmental attributes, but for the product transparency, Sustainable Minds is our primary go-to database. And one of the reasons we like Sustainable Minds is not just that it helps you find the products, but as Terry showed, it helps educate the users about the impacts of product selection. It helps explain what's included in the material disclosures and in the EPDs, so there's an understanding of why these materials are being requested. The other thing it does is, given the narratives that are available, you can see how some of these manufacturers have moved beyond just disclosing information to optimizing, okay? And that's really what we're striving for, is optimization, such as you saw with Carnegie Fabric's Zerel product, going from the Zerel, which was, had very good sustainability features, but they took it a step further, going to BioZerel. So when we partner with these existing product databases, we're looking for ones that are online, where the product search is free, the attributes are included in the CHPS criteria, the claims are via CHPS criteria approved pathways, there's multiple product types, and it's certification, verification, organization neutral. And again, Sustainable Minds met all of these criteria, making it a very good match for us for finding product disclosure information. So here we have partnered with the Transparency Catalog, and as part of our partnership, CHPS members get a benefit. As CHPS members, you're able then to get a discount on your product listings in the Transparency Catalog. And we are doing this because we want to promote product transparency information and making it readily available and accessible, in particular to the school community, because we think it's a particular concern and interest there. So to help entice people to manufacturers to list their products, we're providing this discount on their Transparency Catalog listings. And you can contact Terry or me for more details on that if you're interested. So I just want to thank you all for your attention. And again, if you're interested in supporting our healthy high performance movement, become a CHPS member. And if anyone on the call is a member of a school or a school district, know that CHPS membership is free for you, because we really want to get this information into your hands to help you create and maintain high performance schools. So with that, I'm going to give it back to Terry so we can answer. There's a few questions I see here, and answer the questions that are here and see if there are any more that have come in. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, let's get to the questions, and then there's a little bit more demo I'd like to show. But the first question, Charles, is for you. What is the best pattern for classrooms for hiding pinup holes durability in the Zarel line?
Well, it depends on the wall, but we have some patterns that are a little bit more textured. I'm thinking about a pattern Nexus, something like our pattern Flux. You want something to have a little bit more texture to it, as opposed to, say, a strié, which is more flat. So we have a ton of them. If you go on our website, the two that come to mind are, Nexus, of course, but there are a bunch of others that you can go to. Let's look at Nexus. That's more texture, a little thicker, and it does you do hide holes a lot better than some of the more flatter patterns, particularly if you're in a classroom, you're pinning up pictures and things of that nature.
So it's a wall covering, right?
Yes. And if it's the same would apply if you were having wrap panels. You wouldn't have to worry about it if you had wrap panels, because our material is self-healing. If it's unbacked, you can stick pins in it, and the fabric yarns will just move right when you remove the pin. They kind of close up. We call it, that's one of the features of Zarel. That in a tackable situation, if it's unbacked, it is self-healing. But if it is a wall, if you glued it to a wall, a paperback version, which is not self-healing, but if you want to hide those holes a little better, you can opt for one of the more textured patterns and be fine. So if we go to like herringbone, it's another one that comes to mind. Mesh, those designs hide some of those, if you're pinning things into a wall, and hide it a little better. Hopefully I answered the question.
Yep, and you click right there on the product name, and it takes you to the product pages. So the transparency catalog URL is transparencycatalog.com, www.transparencycatalog.com. Its own site, its own URL. We tried to get something that would be easy for people to remember. But what I'd like to do is quickly show folks, now that we've shown you a standard listing, I've shown you a free listing in the catalog, and I've shown you a standard listing in the catalog. But what I want to do is show you one of these featured brand listings, because this is where manufacturers really have the opportunity to tell more detailed stories in the context of a marketing tool. So Valspar has a line of products called their Fluoripon Pure. And we have a transparency product called the Material Health Overview. And the Material Health Overview is all one page. What it does is it provides all the information that you'd look for in any kind of technical marketing brochure, but now combines functional performance with environmental performance, gives you all the certification and rating information. And then literally, it's a material health overview. It gives you the technical results of the disclosures used to disclose this product, and gives you a visual way. These are the visual results of an HPD. Here's the declare label. And now the manufacturer can talk about what's in the product and why, how they're making decisions about how the product is made, and what they're doing to improve. And then see all the values and the different rating systems that the product and the disclosures qualify for. Our transparency products are illustrated or utilized right now by these 4 brands who have a range of transparency reports, material health overviews, performance fact sheets, our 3 transparency products that take all of that product transparency and product marketing and integrate it into one cloud-based technical marketing tool. We'll be having webinars coming up in the next month or 2. We'll have more featured brands coming online soon. But we are all for getting started where you are. If you're a manufacturer on this call who's got products with transparency information, getting you into a standard listing so people can find your products with your disclosures, and particularly if CHPS is relevant to you, it's quick and easy and low cost, high value to help accelerate this virtuous cycle of supply and demand. So we're at our just a minute or 2 before our time, so we're going to wrap up and save you a minute. Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Charles, for coming today and sharing your stories with us. And thank you to all who attended. Have a great day.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And if you've asked a question and we haven't responded to it, or we didn't get to respond to it on the call, we'll follow up with you and make sure you get your answer.
Thank you, and have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.